Hello, my name is Leanna. I'm a Master's of Social Work student at the University of Utah, and I'm presenting Parenting Insight and Tips. These are evidence-based principles from the book Parenting from the Inside Out, which is a really good book for guiding adults through self-reflection so that they can understand themselves better and the relationships that they form with children and with other adults. So my disclaimer is that it is not my intention with these videos to shame, blame, or compare any parenting styles. It is my goal to provide support and education, and so take what works and leave what doesn't. Chapter 6 talks about adult attachment, which determines how we make sense of our lives. I found this chapter to be really helpful and insightful for all types of relationships. So not just parent to child, but adult to spouse or friends or parents, siblings. It just is really helpful for understanding why we react the way we do, why we see ourselves the way we do, why we see the world the way we do. So the quote that I chose from the book that I think really sums up the importance of this work is here. Sometimes recollections of painful elements of our emotional memories can make us feel very vulnerable. However, not owning the totality of our histories can actually inhibit the creation of coherency in our lives. Ultimately, understanding our past and our attachment styles and how we have attached to our parents, how we attach to our children, understanding those things can help us determine our life direction. When we do not do proper reflection on how we have been influenced by maybe unresolved or painful experiences in our past, we can't determine as well the path that we want to live, one that is meaningful, leading towards our values. And so when we reflect on our lives, we can gain an understanding about thoughts, behaviors, actions, and reactions. We can gain a greater capacity for self-knowledge by integrating the past, the present, and the future all together. People can get caught up in the past and let the past dictate the present and the future, even though they don't mean to. And this can be really influenced by whatever attachment they developed as a child. So why is it helpful to understand our attachments? The things that I just said can help the adult in their own lives, in their own relationships with other adults. As far as parenting, our own attachment styles do affect how our children attach with us and how they grow to form their own attachments as adults. So as we are influenced by our parents' pasts and the attachment that they had with their parents, so will our attachments affect our children. When we can provide a secure attachment for our children, they are then able to create relationships that promote well-being. They're able to develop tools for building internal security and resilience. And they find interpersonal skills for creating fulfilling and meaningful connections in the future. This all stems when we are able to provide our children with secure attachments. I liked this quote in the book: making sense of your life enables you to understand others more fully and gives you the possibility of choosing your behaviors and opening your mind to a fuller range of experiences. I think sometimes we can get so caught up in our emotions and the things that we have experienced that we no longer feel that we are agents of decision. We no longer feel that we can choose a path. We can have different experiences. We can have different behaviors because something has affected us so much and we've grown with it for so much time. When we understand these things, then we can make the changes that are necessary for choosing the path that does serve us and letting go of the things that don't serve us. So how to do a reflection and determine your own attachments. This is a very brief list and guide to doing so. And obviously, reading the book is going to be helpful. Also, this link at the bottom is going to be helpful. So I'll explain a little bit about that. First, reflect on your childhood and past experiences with curiosity and objectivity. So this does not mean you're judging what happened in the past. Doesn't mean labeling it as good or bad. It's just kind of looking at it from the third person and saying what happened. Then try to understand how your experiences have shaped your worldview and development. And this is also really well explained in the book, how certain attachment types lead to certain worldviews. And so I'll talk about that in the next slide a little bit. Then make sure to be gracious in your reflections and your explorations. So this is not a time to be hard on yourself, to take self-blame or to blame others, cause any sort of intense emotion or anxiety. This is really just for your own benefit. So take it as it works for you. Do self-care, be objective, be curious. And when you find that you're not objective and curious anymore, take a step back and take a break. It's important to find someone who is safe for you, with whom you can share the reflections and build a secure attachment with. So even though we may have developed attachments that are insecure, we can still develop secure attachments and change our way of viewing the world and viewing ourselves. This is through secure attachments, even in adulthood. And if you don't find that there are safe people for you to develop this secure attachment with, seek help with a therapist. Research shows that even through that work with a therapist, you can still move towards an earned secure attachment, as the book calls it. There's the adult attachment interview, and there's a link to the bottom that you can look up that will take you through some questions and provide some explanation of answers. And this can be really helpful for understanding your own attachment. So these are the types of attachments. It's a very quick guide to a child versus an adult, how they reflect each other. And this is in the same individual. So if a child is securely attached, when they are an adult, they experience security, which means they feel free, they feel autonomous. This can look like a confidence, being able to choose, feeling like you can choose, not really feeling as much self-doubt. Of course, there's uncertainty in everything, but more of a feeling of, I can accomplish things. The world is a safe place for me to explore. When a child is avoidantly attached, they are dismissing. And really, these talk about how a person describes their past. So back to the securely attached child, as an adult, when they are explaining their history, they talk about it in a free or autonomous way. Doesn't mean that it's all positive, but it does mean that they can kind of explore the whole thing, present the whole picture in a coherent manner. When someone is avoidantly attached, they describe their history, their childhood, in a dismissive way. Like, oh, my parents weren't really the best, but it's fine. I've moved on. It doesn't really matter. So that's what happens when the child is avoidantly attached with their parent. When a child is ambivalently attached to the parent, this is when they experience inconsistency in the relationship with their parents, sometimes being cared for, sometimes not. And sometimes the parent is intrusive. They can seem preoccupied when they explain their childhood. So this can look like they're talking about things in the future, in the future and in the past and in the present all at once. And it's not really a coherent story. It's saying, my mom didn't really approve of me as a child. And even now I can hear her voice. And did I do my presentation well? And maybe I'll never do it well. But like, when I was a child, I really loved my family. And so it's kind of like going back and forth, and it's just kind of a mess. When a child is disorganizedly attached, as a adult, they can describe their past where in a way that it's clear that they have unresolved trauma and that they have loss and disorganization. So this can just look like a really incoherent story, and it focuses maybe more on the trauma and the loss they experienced rather than a story as a whole. So hopefully that made sense. This quote at the bottom, I think, sums it up probably better than I did. But it says adult attachment can be determined by how parents tell the story of their early life history to another adult. So again, the things on the right under adults, that's how the adult explains their story. That can determine or dictate or give hints to how they were attached as a child. So the way the story is told, not merely the content, reveals characteristics of the parent's state of mind regarding the attachment. Integrating a coherent story involves bringing together the themes of our past with the ongoing story of our lives as we move into the future. So something that I mentioned last night, and it doesn't have it on here, but there's earned secure attachment. And that can happen as an adult. So even an adult who is avoidantly attached, ambivalently attached, disorganizedly attached as a child can experience secure attachment as an adult. And this is when they are able to do a self-reflection on the past, integrate the past, the present, the future, resolve issues, and find a safe person to share experiences with and to share secure attachment with, then they can move forward in a more free and autonomous way. So hopefully this helps. If you think that you need some more support, please reach out to a therapist and tell them about your attachment and your story. Good luck.